Hi everybody, welcome back to California Chris. Today we're going to have a look at App Connect. It's one of the things that I do get asked quite a lot about. Now whether you've got a California, transporter, caddy, anything with the commercial range, what we're going to show you today applies. So it's not just for California, it's for all of them really. So what you will obviously need is, for App Connect, is you need a mobile phone. In this video we're going to concentrate on iOS, so just on Apple devices. We can do another one later on, and we'll obviously then we'll look at Android, because they are slightly different the way the systems work that's there, but we're going to concentrate on Apple today. So one of the important things you need is an Apple lead. You can use non-Apple leads. However, if you have a problem and it doesn't seem to want to work, 9 times out of 10 the reason is because it's not a proper lead. And I believe, and I'm sure somebody will probably tell me I'm wrong with this, but I believe there is something the way that the Apple leads are wired up, which is slightly different. So I've got a non-generic lead in my van and it works fine, but I've had other ones in there and they haven't worked at all. So generally speaking, I've used the original lead, and that applies to whether it's Apple or whether it's Android that's there as well. So obviously one needs to go into the USB port. If you had a normal transporter, it would be in the top of the dash. Caddy's just down by the gear stick that's there. So just plug one end in to the vehicle and the other end into my phone. The first time you do a setup, it will ask you whether you want to allow contacts and things like that and data transfer. If you just go yes to all of those and allow it, and then your screen in your dash will then look as it does here, which is very similar to the iPhone screen. Now all of these, Apple CarPlay is the system which it uses, so as long as your app has got CarPlay, it will work on the App Connect system. So Google Maps, for example, iTunes library, Amazon Music, all of those are CarPlay enabled, and so they'll work. So let's have a quick look at one in particular now. So phone, for example, if you press phone, it will then ask you who you want to call, or you can show contacts. And lots of different people across the front, so you can look at your recent calls, for example, that's there, and speak to people should you need to. That's there. You press the round button here like you do on an Apple phone, and it just takes you back to the main menu. So it's quite easy to use. A really good function, and probably the main function that people have App Connect, is that you can use it for satellite navigation. So rather than having a navigation system within your vehicle, and again we'll do a video on that as a separate one, you can use App Connect via your phone to give you satellite navigation. So on this one, for example, there's two programs that do that. There's the Maps, which obviously is part of Apple's device, but also Google Maps works as well, because that actually has the CarPlay function that's in there. So I'm just going to use, for the moment, I'm going to use the standard Maps package. So if you press the Maps package, that will then load up onto the screen. It tells us obviously where we are now. It uses your phone for its navigation system, and you can put destinations in where you want to be, for example, that's in there. You can zoom in and zoom out so you see a bigger area. So obviously we're in Liverpool near the airport, so where we're based. So really quite simple to use, and again, come back out and you go back to your main menu. So as you can see on there, on these you've got your messages, your phone that's on the audio books, and it's fully integrated with the system. And you can also swipe to move on, so you've got things like WhatsApp that's in there, your Google Maps, and Amazon Music. Now this is my phone, I've got Amazon Music. There's lots of other downloading services that you can use from on there. I found it quite useful because I plug it in and then obviously I just play my music straight through the App Connect. The main reason though for the App Connect is the satellite navigation. That's the primarily one I think that most people would use it for. The streaming of music, you can do that via Bluetooth, but it is a lot better if it's on the screen. Personally, I think it's a lot safer if it's on the screen as well, because then obviously you shouldn't be using your mobile phone in the car while you're driving, but you're okay to use the screen. So on that basis then you're only clicking buttons, which is on there as well. So that's a very brief overview of how App Connect works, if any of you are wondering what it actually is, because we do get a lot of calls on there. And just to recap, if you have App Connect and you're having any problems with it, obviously just check that the lead you're using first is the one that's there. I've mentioned in videos before, App Connect you can get that from your local dealer as well. So as long as you've got the composite media screen, the bigger screen, the 6.33 screen, you can get App Connect. You have to go into your local dealer, and they'll obviously do it for you. It needs to go in the workshop and have it coded into the vehicle. I think, I remember rightly, it's about £186, something like that, for that function. And you can also do that as well with voice control, which is quite handy. So voice control allows you to press a button, and obviously then you can speak to the stereo to do certain commands and things like that. So again, we'll probably have a separate video on that, and we'll have a look at it in a bit more detail. We'll do another video on the system but using an Android phone, because it is slightly differently. You use Android Auto, which is what that system uses, and it can use other phones as well. There's mirror link in there as well, but I'll be honest, I've never personally used that. So as you can see, my phone's an Apple phone. That's the one that I know how it works, and it does work very effectively. It's on there. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today. It's been informative for you. If you have, please subscribe, give us a like. Any comments, pop the comments box in below, and I will see you next time.